This conference will now be recorded.
You're good. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight to our mayor and council meeting. All the council members are here except for Tony, who's on vacation in Mako. Would everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the many blessed things that you have given us. We pray, Lord, for the people over in Hawaii, devastation of the fire. Bless them, keep them safe, and guide them back to their civilization. Oh Lord, we thank you for everything. We ask you to guide us as we go into doing the town's business that may benefit townspeople and the town itself. It's all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, if the council had a chance to review the public hearing, regular meeting, executive session for July 10th, and the workshop meeting and executive session for July 31st.
Yeah, I sent Kim a couple of small.
Yeah, so. Anybody else have any corrections or additions other than Mary Lee? Hearing none, do I have a motion as corrected? Do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as with corrections. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those the same, abstain, motion carried. Treasurer's report.
Oh, my goodness, we're there already.
Yes,
We're
sir.
there already, Eric.
You're
You're
on,
on.
you're on, you're ready to go.
Well, let's see, I'll give you a few introductory remarks. I met with Brian today and went over those 20 PDFs that he sent out, and I made some notes. And then I had a 2-hour ice cream shop meeting with Mary Lee today.
2 hours.
Yeah, probably so. Takes a long one. So I know she has some comments about some balance sheet adjustments and such, but I'll go over the treasurer's report that Brian sent out. So as far as the general fund checklist, the balance showing there's 2,405,000 and change. I do notice that we had a significant deposit this time. $292,000 for the real estate tax payment deposit. And I also noticed we earned $51,000 in interest this calendar year so far in that account, which is pretty darn significant. That's all for the general fund. For the water fund, we also had a significant deposit because it's the time of the year it is. That balance is $754,000 and some change. And on the sewer fund, if you noticed on there, it has a negative balance. That's not really the case. They have a true balance of $36,000 and some change. There were some checks that I guess were held. And anyway, the balance shows it's a negative, and it's really not, because Brian moved some money on August 1st to cover those checks before they hit. So I had a little conversation with him about that today, and I know Mary Lee has comments about it. As far as some other things, the restricted funds account has $2,785,000 in change. My favorite ARP account was about $3,027,000 in change. And I've also noticed the year-to-date interest on that account is $74,000 made on that money sitting in the bank. I think that's pretty darn significant. Back to the water fee user fund. I'll do the Middletown Valley, that has a balance of $186,000 and change. The sewer fund user fees has a balance of about $100K even, some odd change. As far as CDs investments, there are two multiple bank down the street here, one at Middletown Valley, and several at Wells Fargo for a balance of $2,017,000 in change. There was one redeemed, one of Wells Fargo ones was redeemed. And I also noticed, jumping ahead in August, they had one that came due last week at Wells Fargo. And I asked Brian how that was handled. He said that something matter. Tony gets a notification, so I'm sure Tony took care of that. There's also two money markets at Wells Fargo. Mary Lee and I were discussing today, well, how did we get two? One of them is very insignificant, $106 is in there. So we ought to merge that with the other one. It has $220,000 in it. So those are both at Wells Fargo. So that is all I was going to report. I don't know if Mary Lee wanted to get into some of the things she noticed on the balance sheets. But Brian did indicate that he knew there were some adjustments and he's going to get more involved.
No, I'll just wait, you know,
That's
do
good.
what we brought in some things that.
Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion.
Second. A motion and second. Any discussions, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. Abstaining? Motion carries. Ray, you got a sheet there, public comment?
Yes, sir. We have a news record and David Bell. I'll take it.
Right, John?
I don't know this.
All right, mine is the usual concern, 50. They did mow the grass, but they have not done anything with construction debris. And I'm wondering, what can happen. And I don't understand why they keep getting away with this. The house, the property is a mess. Everybody around keeps the property nice, keeps them up. We've got this eyesore. I guess I'm losing a little bit of patience.
So they did mow the grass, but they haven't moved any of the construction.
No, and they've been over there, so
Did we put construction debris needed news in the notice or did we just write it out?
We just the grass and the tree.
Did they take care of the tree?
The tree was over the side.
That one there was. Construction. It was.
I don't know.
I'm saying, to them about construction debris.
No, that's what I'm asking, apparently no, so I don't know whether that's something that can be cited, we'll have to.
We'll look into that.
See
and,
and cite those.
I mean, I would think if you're doing construction, that you would be required to have a dumpster. When we did our construction renovating our house, we were required to have a dumpster, so your stuff at least doesn't go all over.
I mean, they did for a while and a lot of their stuff, but, there's still stuff there.
And didn't you actually talk to an inspector?
Yeah, the Washington County inspector was there. Yeah, that's what it is. And so I stopped him as he's coming down the driveway and asked him if he could do anything about it. And he said, no, that was something that the town had to do. He said he was in there to do a framing inspection. I wanted to ask him if it passed.
It is a little unsightly, I have out there multiple times a day, and there's this pile of stuff that's kind of in the front yard. It's not even like hidden in the back. It's pretty good pile of trash.
Is it trash or lumber?
It's just those few some drywall and you name it.
That can't be used.
Oh, yeah, right, it's back.
You'll get the notice that one, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was planning on coming to see if there was any movement on 21 St. Paul Street with the RV in the backyard. And when I signed on this morning and saw the agenda, I see that new business, I'm assuming that you're going to discuss that under Washington County zoning ordinance for recreational vehicles. So, I left 2 weeks ago at the meeting, and I thought there was a general understanding that something, that everybody seemed to be under the same understanding that they were in violation and that something was going to be done about it. My fear is if you're, seem to be gearing towards the Washington County zoning ordinance as opposed to our own ordinance, that I'm having worked the past 19 years in the District of Columbia courts. I've seen many times where different agencies say, no, it's not my responsibility, it's your responsibility. Well, we think it's yours. So I don't, if you're relying on Washington County, I hope that they are going to see it as something, if you are going to decide that at tonight's meeting, that it's not something that there's going to be a jurisdictional issue over. And they say, well, you have your own ordinance, enforce it yourself. And then you say, well, we're not sure about our ordinance, so you take it. And then I'm hoping that the ball doesn't continue to be bounced back and forth because, they moved in last November of 2022 after buying it in November of 2020. Nobody said anything until they started noise on Memorial Day. And Lincoln Avenue people have brought it to your attention, St. Paul people have brought it to your attention. And I'm just hoping that, and nobody really had any concerns about them living back there until they started with the noise. And then, neighbor mows back there and she says it smells. So, since it clearly is on the books, I'm hoping that there will be some.
I think we'll get there tonight, David. We can wait till we get to that agenda. I'll call the county.
Okay.
I'll talk to the guy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stay for, so it looks like it's a long agenda. But
Well, I'll just say very quickly, Commission, we intend on sending them a letter, they are in violation. And I called the county, the lady said that they don't call the grace period, but they give them 15 days to get in compliance. Then after that, we can cite them a civil citation for $100 a day, up to $200 a day. So we're gonna talk about that when we get to that agenda, but something's gonna be decided here tonight.
And what's the level of proof that's required there?
Well, that I don't know. I don't know if we did that with the chief or what happened, but somebody will be inspecting that. Okay, soon. You stay on us about it, and you'll get something done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner.
I did have a comment brought up to me. The yellow pole, I'm gonna kind of talk to Greg. The yellow poles at the bottom of Lincoln Avenue, where the grass comes out.
Yeah.
Did we put those in? Because I see them on both sides of the streets. That's why I thought at first maybe Hunter put them in. But I would almost say they're there like so when you plow snow, the curb comes out. Okay, well, the one's kind of leaning out, and they say when they cut the corner, they're afraid, it's gonna hit a car, they're gonna hit a car on the corner. Will they put them on both sides?
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay, are they allowed to put something in the town right away? I guess that's a
It's on the
tip that
property,
we get.
or if town planner gave the okay to do it.
Gotcha, but I don't know that anyhow, one of the residents on Lincoln Avenue said that we ought to look at that because it's kind of tilted out into the road some.
I'll
So
check it
I'm
out.
not sure. It's not too bad out the road, but it is tilted a little.
You know which property she's talking about, Greg?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Schaefer's property, Michelle Schaefer's house.
Oh, okay.
So that there, it's actually on both sides of the street. There's one on the, that's why I thought we put them in when they weren't just on her side. There's one on the other side of the
You're not
street.
talking about the bulk out, are you?
Yeah, in the
That's
bump.
state,
Okay.
state highway puts it in there. I thought you meant them yellow poles that people were putting in to keep people from running your yard.
No, I'm sorry, kind of the bump out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty, it's
That's
probably
state highway.
6 foot tall.
That's state highway puts it.
Kind of lean.
You know it's coming. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I kind of thought they were for. They were like a little more sturdy than the normal snowplow things that we.
They do that
pick up.
because Dana hit that one at a time.
Yeah, right, because it does stick out, and if somebody's coming down there to do the side of the road, I can see where the plow's
We
going.
put them in there when they did the streetscape, didn't we?
Yes.
So, anyhow, the ones kind of, I don't know if someone hit it, it was just falling from.
I'll look at it.
wiggle or
It's bad. I'm gonna
something,
say something
but
to
It's
the
not
guys.
horribly bad, but it needs something. That was your fault.
Anything else? Okay, facilities report, public works, Greg.
Yes, sir. Just there's some stuff on Barney, the cracks, Sycamore Run, we did a walkthrough that like 2 months ago, me and the engineer, Billy Swells, tried it. We gave him a whole punch list of stuff to do, we came back in since then, they did, I'm gonna do a final walkthrough next week and just check everything out. Anybody wants to come out with me, you're more than welcome, just let me know, because you know we're supposed to get over
Make sure everything's done.
Yeah, that's what he does, it's, leave the back and it's all the curves and stuff, not salt, but I'll do the back walkthrough again.
Okay.
Give me a call, Ray, if I'm around.
Okay. I'll do that
Me
next week.
too.
Yeah, if I'm around.
And then your curbs and all your signs on St. Paul Street are finished. I guess it's back there in the winter time, you guys were paid by the Boy Scouts or something, so I did it, knocked them out, didn't want to come past you. Last days, we had 3 to 4 weeks, most of you guys know, knocking out the area, it's fixed, using an hour, like 6 hours.
And to that end, those guys worked well. I called Colin. I was going up there anyway. He was already going up. He went and bought pizzas on his own and took up to the guys. I get up there, they're in the trench, water flying everywhere, mud all over. And first thing I said is, you guys don't make enough money. And, I mean, just hats off to you and your crew, and make sure you thank a whole bunch of them on our behalf.
We did it live, so the campus, we could kill the rest of the town. That's our pressure source.
You said something to me up there about you thought it was the 12-inch, but it really turned out to be an 8-inch.
It
It
turned out
was
to be-
abandoned.
We thought it was abandoned, yes, so I found out what the problem is, but it was abandoned back in '05, it was written on the map. All they did was shut the valve off at the end of it, happened. Nobody dug down and capped everything. So by the time the valve's failed, stuff leaks fine. So
Well,
I got a cap on order, dig it down and fix it right away. Dig it down, cap it all, put concrete busters.
yeah, I mean,
So nobody ever did.
I'm wondering, could that be some of our leak also, if it's all the way down the Lincoln Avenue? Anyway, College is schooling me on this stuff.
And the guys are exercise bouncers, you see them all in the intersection somewhere, it looks like they're in danger, they're not there, you gotta keep them. It's just like 3 months to complete.
Yeah. So good job, you guys, and thanks, Carl, for taking the pizza.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Anybody else have any questions of Greg? Okay, we're in sewer superintendent.
Water side, everything's doing good, waiting on Phillips to get back with doing a bid to come back and finish up the well, part well. We're going to look at some part-time, see if I can. Well, so we did, we got a reservoir today, and we did find that the old abandoned line of Reynolds we talked about is also leaking water into it, so it must have cracked somewhere in the ground. Laid out somewhere is what we're thinking maybe, but there's a lot of water. That's where a lot of the water is going, and we put a ball in it to seal it. And so hopefully that's gonna help hold on until we get this reservoir done. Sewer side, everything is working great, everything's running smooth. HRI did show up today and start to do, accepting all the supplies and got everything surveyed and taking care of all that. So hopefully we're gonna be, we'll see getting that on, leading to everything else. Pretty good. Very good.
We same group did the diving, the fire department?
Yes. Yes. Good morning. Those guys are good. Very good.
Phillips did the same thing about the capacity test at the well, did we need to get around there?
Yeah, whatever, they come to do all the hookup with the rest of the plumbing and all that. It's-
Keep us posted. That's gonna be a good well.
yeah, it sounds like they're
Good.
good. They're anticipating it being 69.
Anybody have any questions? Pete? Thank you, sir. Town planners report. Acting liaison.
My goodness, that's me again.
Yeah.
So what Riley and I had sort of done, I told Jared today, she would talk about things that she kind of knew was in the hopper, what was kind of going on. And then when I got to the liaison, I was sort of talking about working on the meeting minutes, which I'll do when I get there. So what's going on that I've just heard about in the office, and Jared can jump in there and correct me where I'll be wrong. There is plans being submitted for a garage at 621 North Main out here, just before you get to ACT. I heard down look at it one day. Kind of small looking little backyard. There's a garage or a little building or sheds in there now, so we're probably gonna have to knock that down. But anyway, more to come on that. That's kind of in the hopper. Kim told me a couple of weeks ago that they got an application for a shed here on Center Street in the backyard, right behind George Messner's, which is a very small yard. I walked down and looked at that. But then the next day, a sign for sale appears on the house. So I don't know if they're going to withdraw that application. We don't know. But anyway, that came in. We did talk about the subdivision that Mount Eagle Church wants to do up here. They want to, Tubby Clopper's old house, for you all who are old Greenwood people. They want to divide Tubby's old lot in the back and keep that where they have a playground, but they want to sell the house. No one's in the house, then they stay repair and all that, so they don't get rid of the house. And the question about density came up in the planning commission meeting. And I think Jared was going to call Riley to see what may have been discussed. So that's kind of in hopper.
Is that building property right next to that?
Right on this side, yes.
Yeah, they bought that.
It did.
Yeah, there used to be another house in there too.
Yeah.
So there was another house on the other side of Tubby's that was torn down and made into the church
Yeah.
lot.
So they're working on that, and it was the same gentleman whose name escapes me that wanted to put the campground down on 67 to come in to represent the church.
Harding.
Party, right, so he came in, and I saw him, I thought he wanted to talk about that, but that's not what he wanted to talk about. Subway over here, they want to add an apartment or apartments, they want to build on and just go straight out to the back of the lot. Now, I know years ago, building an Edison company and that was all one, the house and the Subway store was all over them. We don't even know, we have to look, are there two owners now, or the setbacks even gonna work? Just what's gonna go on there, the guy, we had known about this, but then the guy just literally walked in today and kind of laid me on Kim about he wanted to go farther, so. We don't do that part. Well, yeah, I mean, just all that stuff. You know, because that's what he's gonna do, he's gonna eat up his parking, that he has. So, that, and finally, Jared had a question the other day about people putting solar panels on the roof of the personal home that need a permit. We talked about it a little bit, and we couldn't really find anything offhand. And we just thought, well, that's the same as replacing an existing roof. So that's kind of where we go with that.
I raised my hand.
Yeah,
We did, yes, we did, yes. We did talk to Riley.
Okay, what'd she say?
She said that you submitted the same as a regular building permit to the county, but you do not fill out any of the information for setbacks or zoning.
Okay. So you had some contractors and professionals out there?
So I reached back out to them, we talked about it, I told them before. So that's what we're gonna do from here on. I do think eventually we should get some more specific, code about solar.
So would that be something that we do the comprehensive plan, would we include that in or that?
It's
totally
kind of
different?
separate, but it could be good time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's sections in there we can add about energy sources and things like that. So, but as far as the permitting, no, that's.
So, and finally, in this report, Rico Aiello stepped down from the planning commission. And I honestly forget if his term was up or he just stepped down. I think his term was up. So we now have a vacancy. And I've been reaching out to people to get on, but so far I'm not having any luck. So anyway, that's it for that.
You put that on the website, so we have an opening on the phone.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, sir. Very good job. Town manager, Sheriff.
Yeah, well, here, there's quite a lot going on, and we're all working on it. But, since a lot of what we're doing hasn't been talked about already, there's just a few things I want to update everyone on. We had our first round of interviews for the planning commission. It went well. We had 3 interviews. We will be having a second round of interviews, on 2 different dates this month, the 21st and the 28th. Once that second round is complete, we'll be pretty quick to make our recommendation. And get a job offer out there. We really need that position. Mayor and I met with the National Heritage Foundation to discuss the plans for the museum, the National Guard Museum opening. I thought it was a pretty productive meeting. Basically, this is our second meeting we've had with them, basically laying out what we need from them as far as the plan is concerned. And based on that plan, we can decide how we can help them. So they have an idea of what we're looking for. It sounded like they have one more meeting this month with the exhibit designer. And once they meet with that group, they will get the final plan together and submit it to us. So I think they have a good idea of what we need, and we should be able to move forward pretty quickly with a good plan to hear what they need. I know that's kind of been is there any questions on that?
That's always so.
I just want to say, I knew they were saying towards the end. Yeah, we should hear back from them on the plan by then. We will be submitting an application for the upcoming community parks and playgrounds funding round, which is coming up in a couple of weeks here. I'm working with Catherine and MRBC for that. What we're going to apply for is, you could call it a 5th phase to the Schaefer Park Trail, even though the 4th phase hasn't started yet. But I think I may have mentioned this in other meetings, but for those of you that don't know, basically, we're going to have a 5th pedestrian path going from basically where the 4th phase will end. It's going to run adjacent to the current vehicle trail. It's down there that goes down to the handicap parking where the water is, that the fishing derby's at. That way we can leave the vehicle path open if we want to need to get down there during the day. And there will be a separate pedestrian path for safety reasons. So that's what we're going to apply for. That's coming up a couple of weeks. I asked the engineering team that did the 4th phase to do just a quick concept drawing and cost estimate. We're going to add to the
Can I ask you a question? She kind of thought that cars would be allowed to drive down to the pond, the whole way down to the pond.
They will, once we get this path there.
Yeah. So what, will they have something up on the side so a car can't go in the pond? I mean, I don't understand why they
Well,
can't park in the parking
There's,
lot.
well, there's
They're
2
not gonna
parking
drive
spaces down there.
There's 2 handicap parking spaces down there.
Right,
They'll have to park in those. They can't pull up alongside the pond now.
okay,
Yeah, they have to stay on the road.
okay.
And there'll be signs.
Okay, but she had me worried. I
Yeah.
thought, there's
No,
no
no,
way
no,
a car
no.
should be dropping down that path.
No,
This is basically strictly to
Okay.
actually be able to use the handicap parking. It's
Yeah.
already been built.
Right.
It's just unusable right now.
Okay.
It's always locked.
Locked.
And it's locked for a reason.
Right.
And so this will allow us to open that up. to
Okay.
people that can use that handicap.
we've
All
got
right.
some handicap people that have handicap. Disabilities. That's why we have handicap parking down there. You've got a gate locked.
Right,
And you can't go down there and park and fish. Them and their kids. Them children.
is that gate just so people can't drive down there?
Yeah, because they turned it into pedestrian walkway years ago.
Right.
This council did. If you go out any time of the day, there's 10, 15 people.
Yeah, it's very busy walking.
Very
Right.
good.
But we definitely find that they.
Yes.
There's some already down there.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if we're gonna take that gate away, you know what I mean?
But we're not gonna take it away, we're gonna open it up,
You know,
and we're gonna lock it back up, because if we don't lock it up, kids are gonna be down there doing wheels and football field like they used to do.
Jerry does now.
There's gonna need to be an enforcement.
Yeah,
Is there,
There's always somebody trying.
I mean, is there any way we can open it up now to let those people use it and just kind of put signage up?
Well, unfortunately, we've had to, when somebody has requested it to be open, Grade has to go down there and unlock it.
Right, I mean, like, is there a way to keep it unlocked now, like, you know, they lock
You
it
can
up?
leave it if you just
I'm
want
like,
to.
I
basically
was
put
just
the cars
wondering,
in
like, do we need to
pedestrians.
put some kind of signage up, you know, for the people walking to walk or cancel or
That's
that's
gonna be
too
kind
much
of hard with
liability?
cars and people walking. on.
Well, I know, but there won't be that many cars, people at the same time.
That's what it,
I mean,
It's
how
not
big
really
is that?
designed
Design
for vehicles.
Right.
It's like a-
They turn, you offer into pedestrian walkway and then they would park it off there too during like lacrosse games, football games. There was
Yeah,
cars just scattered all around.
That's what I am worried about once it's open, they will park there, the problem is there's not enough parking.
We can put no parking signs up along the path. So that's- Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Again, this is just strictly to separate the two, so people stop walking, using it as a pedestrian path. And I think it may take a little time. for people to
Trust me,
use it.
you'll make a lot of people angry if you don't let them walk there. You know what I mean? Because they will, it's used a lot.
But the point
Way more
is,
than
the point is there will be a pedestrian area
Area.
for safety reasons. There will be signs up for it, and people, it's like if somebody chooses to walk on the road. it's-
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so we're working on that application now, they can submit it in a few weeks. Tony's already down there, but I'll be heading down to the Mako complex tomorrow. And we have a pretty good plan, we're working with Roger, our he's actually not gonna be down there tomorrow. We're gonna go to a few events with him, with some elected officials, some ones that he's recommended that we go to really talk to some people about our funding situation and our need for the reservoir. So that's gonna be our main focus over now. But I will be leaving for that. No questions for me? You coming back? I mean, I come back, say. I will be back in office. Second.
Where do we stand on the center, on all the sidewalks throughout?
The safe routes to school, you mean? I have a meeting with them next week. It is in the engineering phase right now. State highways take care of the engineering, so it's they get, I'm guessing once they, get about their 60% plans, they'll submit it to us to look at. We don't have a whole lot of options. I mean, we kind of are at the mercy of SHA, to be honest with you. But there are a few things that we don't like, we can like. So when I do get those 60% plans, I'll also.
Last week they were down there doing some surveying in the streets. You saw some guys with vests doing, that's what they were doing on the survey, doing some survey.
I just worry about all these little things we got going on, and then all left, and I'm like, where did all these little things go? And I don't want to lose any of them.
I'm trying to keep on top of them all, but yeah, that one's actually, they reached out to me today. And we started a meeting, within the next 2 weeks, and we're getting together with their engineering team in town, SHA, go over the project, so.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? Chief?
Already, for last month, we had 110 calls for service, 129 traffic stops, 2 service papers, and I had all the rest. Found an investigation with Reese's, they had a stop at the case more, they couldn't figure out who the person was, it was pretty expensive. She spent over $3,000 worth of stuff over a month's time. Tom was able to identify her, he went ahead and charged her. And then, had a traffic stop on 10th Street, we wanted out of Berkeley County. I attended, myself,
Officer Ballesteros, Officer Daver, did the independence celebration. I attended the mayor and council town hall meeting. Officer Ballesteros went out to the Legion with M&T Bank for a fraud identity thing. That wasn't very well, I guess, advertised, because I think it was 3 people showed up. So, I mean, Ted told him, so listen, if you want to do this again, it's a good idea, but you got to advertise, let people know that. 3 people, you certainly have 3 people.
I didn't know.
So, anyway, I think it was a good idea, just the fact that it wasn't advertised, where everyone showed up. And, we got all our radar units recertified for the next year. And I intended to come to the Public Safety Commission, town hall, town hall, and the workshop. That's what we're doing this month. We did good.
What's that about?
Yeah, we got the town show in Square. And that's going to happen again apparently on the 2nd and 3rd. And remember, we had the 3rd, we had the food truck. One. So, I'm thinking about rerouting traffic on the 2nd, where nothing is used for. Anything coming this way, goes up High Street, goes out, goes down, goes out. Anything coming this way, run them up out of the park, run them up here the wrong way, back out on Main Street, so they're going. So we take the show off. Still talking. We want to be more than just a couple of us to do it. I have to ask the power place. That's my thinking. If he doesn't have the show, then maybe it won't happen. Going to do it Saturday because we got the food truck stuff going on Sunday. So,
Yeah, fireplace the time. That ain't really that thing built like that.
Yeah.
Fireplace.
that's for Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah. But
Saturday.
anyway, that's my thought. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it or not. There's a up there and have a show. And be done with it. He said he's going to be there Saturday and Sunday. And
Chief, what do we owe the pleasure of this next visit, usually after this now?
he requested video, I guess from, the last time he was up on a Thursday night, someone from Motel 2 Water.
Oh, goodness.
He come to our place, we showed him the video we had, all we got is his feet getting wet. And Sherry and Evelyn sat down here and Vernon laughing about it. You could see that, but you couldn't see him through the water. We tried to look for the person, couldn't find him. Apparently he went into the motel, tried to get their video, and they told him to get away. So I think that's why he's doing it again, because of he didn't get his video, he didn't get his way, so he's going to his tantrum and have another 2-day protest this time. Is what he tells us. He may change his mind if he will. But anyway, that's 2nd and 3rd. So we got to use our resources tied up for that. And again, so that's my thinking.
Do you have any questions, Chief? Thank you, sir. Can you stick around for a couple minutes
Yeah.
until we get to that?
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Mayor and council correspondence. Anybody have anything?
You all received it or not, I got a state date from Senator Porterman. Got refreshments and hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah, down at
At Big
Big Court. Yeah.
Thursdays.
I received one too. I'm not gonna be able to go all day. Anybody else? Give you an update. We were talking about updates. We have some main projects going on. State Highway did release the design for Chase 6 and schoolhouse. They've made some suggestions for some changes. It's Draper's in Draper's hand to make the changes, and once he makes those changes and gets them back to State Highway, and they sign off on it, then we'll be able to get with the air attorney and the counties, get an MOU wrote up and get things started. Hopefully Draper can work on his over the winter, and then come spring when school's out, we can work on the schools. Because that would be a mess trying to get them buses and cars out there and working on the road. So hopefully, next year, this time, we'll have that almost finished, completely finished. So that's where we stand on that.
Easter Day.
Easter Day, We have a meeting coming up, again, with our town attorney, and we had a meeting, Greg, Jarrett, and I, and with their attorney and some other people. She basically said she would think about it, make a decision on how to handle it. So after we have this other meeting, whether I think it's gonna be out there, and get Greg.
Yeah, she wants to see it.
She wants to see what hasn't been done in person.
That's our attorney?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, we bought her in when they bought their attorney. We bought them. We're not gonna meet with them without. Ann.
Right. Like I said.
They were helpful.
First Monday, yeah. 28.
I think.
It's 28. I'll send it to you, Terry.
Hopefully we can get that straightened out, get the ball rolling. What the holdup is the parking lot, the street, and the post office that has the punch out list. Correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, that needs to be done inside. So that's included, they'll be ready. And she asked for a time frame, and they dally around until we can get some answer, and she says, we're not gonna make a decision until we have a time frame. And she was very sharp. That's why we was having this discussion now. We should have had it a couple years ago. We'll let you know. Okay. Anything else? New business. EV charging station, you're on.
All right. So yeah, this was just more of an update. We went back to Potomac Edison and asked them to look at the location over by the Boy Scout building in Schaefer Park. If you recall, last time I presented, we had proposed the community center, and the mayor and council came back and suggested alternative locations. One was the Boy Scout, the parking lot by the Boy Scout building for Pavilion 4. One was behind the hospice, and the third location was at town maintenance. And I think we had narrowed it down to just the two in Schaefer Park. Potomac Edison went out and looked at the Pavilion 4 Boy Scout parking lot site. It said it would take up to 200 to 300 foot of extra like wiring and additional costs to trench the wire. And so it was significantly less feasible than the community center location in Schaefer Park. So I just wanted to bring the update back to the mayor and council in full to just confirm that we were all on board with that and that they move forward. Or if there were questions or alternative proposals.
The concern, and correct me if I'm wrong, concern was handicap parking during special events. During special events, like National Night Out, like handicap parking, or even for the fireworks. And we have that blocked off. Those two parking spaces for the electric vehicles can be still used as handicap parking. Correct? As long as nobody's being shot.
You can use parking spaces, they're taking actually 4 spaces
Yeah,
for those, for those
that's
things. You know what I'm saying? You're not using 2 spaces, you're reading.
They stay free. So you have one, the station in the middle and 2 bordering parking spaces on either side, so you can actually account for handicapped people who may also want to use the EV. But yes, it is a significant amount of space that
Do
they.
you know what's in that junction box down there by the basketball court? You know where the sign is?
I do, yeah, they need 3 phase,
Is that 3 phase?
so it is.
No, I'm talking about, is that what they need?
That's what they need, yep, that's why it's so close, but I probably work like that, where that box is, that's 3 phase.
So my only thing is, we don't get anything out of it, except people coming to town and maybe shopping. PE's the one making money off it. And you can't tell me PE doesn't have money to spend an extra, to buy 200 to 300 feet of more wire. I counted, there's 34 spots on the community building side, and we're gonna be losing 3. I just don't like the run, but it's up to, big fight.
Is there gonna be demonstrated need, or, is there a shortage of EV charging in Greensboro? I know there's I don't see a whole lot of Priuses on the side of the road right out of juice. I'm just kind of wondering.
Yeah, so it's not that there's necessarily a shortage, but he has a program to install X number of EV charging stations in Washington County. And in fact, ours is one of the highest used ones in the county, which is why they considered us for secondary EV charging station. So,
What about working with the National Road Museum for spots behind the museum?
Again,
There's grass.
connection. Again, you have to run the wire connection.
Where'd they get three
Yeah, but it
phase up
wouldn't
here?
be 200 feet. I mean, if it's not that far from the community center building
We can recommend.
to in the rear there, and then people could maybe charge their car and visit the museum, because they're gonna have to put some parking in back there.
It's got to be public parking.
we still didn't consider, I mean, if we really want to consider another alternative, we didn't fully look into the option in the hospice parking lot. So we could still consider that, if we want to put that one back on the table.
But
We
now-
kind of,
But now, we don't have.
But we don't know.
oh, that's
We don't
really
know
why
what
it fell off.
that-
Yeah.
That's in by, Ron Humboldt and,
Gotcha, gotcha.
so
That's
we'll
why
have
that
to
was
check, yeah, we'll have to check them whether they.
They might only use 3 parking spots.
Gotcha.
We're just allowed to use that. He knows that there are certain places for the rent from.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they have 5 places.
Yeah.
Well, Cassandra, I wonder, when they're telling me this extra cost and all that, the price of wire, I think those grants for this, they're getting reimbursed anyway.
I mean, that could be the case. I asked them, when I posed the question, I said, I asked them which location would be more feasible. Cost aside or whatever, and they said that, the community center location would certainly be more feasible. And then they tried to quantify what the additional costs or materials would be for the Boy Scout. But that's it. That's all we left it. There wasn't a lot of back and forth. It was just clear that it would take more resources to put it in at the Boy Scout.
Yeah, depends how they define your people. I know some members had some comments, I saw the other day, I mean, we have a big love for EVs, all that, I'm just gonna throw it out there. But, it's more convenient to walk up street and everything, so it's way more relaxed. There was some other good comments, so.
Is there any risk of feelings on the part of it? Did they ever discuss it?
Yes, the park board said they didn't like the idea of putting it in the community center parking lot because of the handicap. They take away the handicap from, but they did say that they would like to have it down there by the basketball court if possible. What is the phase up here?
Where?
Up here in this parking lot?
They run 3 phase down off that pole into that corner there. I'm not an electrician. Sorry.
So one thing you
I know 3
can
phase and 2 phases, and there is 3 phase back there, and they brought it down off that pole and buried it underground to the.
It's the transformer. It's 220.
They tried to spend, there's one, they tried to start.
It's not single phase back here.
But even these 3 phases are gonna take all night.
Council, what you?
And there's no place to make extra parking where we do the farmer's market, but like a police station.
Well, it's gonna take care of it.
I know that's part of the walking. What about the library?
Yeah,
Washington County Library.
that's part of it.
Well, I know, but I'm just trying to think if we don't, I mean, there's plenty of parking at the library. There's more than enough parking at the library. I was just trying to think. I know they wanted to walk downtown, but I was just trying to think of other options.
And that's behind your old
They're
place.
kind of like it down to.
There's not even enough place for a maintenance truck. Parks said people moving there next door was also like a whole truck. When they surveyed it. I mean, I gotta make a 2-point turnaround just to get in my parking lot in my shop. And probably be a good idea to have vehicles sitting around, dump trucks and back.
I really don't want to answer this until I find out whether
you can actually, a regular vehicle can park in those spaces. To my knowledge, you can. I don't think there's any, and Chief can correct me.
I don't know of any traffic law for parking in an EV spot. Well, actually, do they do that?
I know we've already had complaints about when they're parked in these longer than when it's not charging, you know what I mean? Didn't they have us put signage up about that? Because that's already been an issue.
That's kind of what the mayor was saying, like, during special events and things like that, we can still use that.
That parking lot used a lot.
Yeah, it is
When
used
you
a
have
lot.
the concerts down there and all your events, that's the first parking lot to fill
Yeah.
up.
Well spoken.
What about, like, what about the field that the fire company owns, but we use for parking? We place to, I mean, that would require some upgrade, but I mean, if we're talking about building a fire, you know, rescue center somewhere else, then, you know, maybe the town would, you know, wants to think about buying that lot, you know, 'cause the main parking, when we have been in the park, and, you know, I mean, there's room there.
I don't anticipate Jeff's, Captain parking lot.
Right,
Right.
that's when, you know, we have to
These people
do
with these
some things.
fancy
I
cars
know.
that are electric.
That would be a future place, you know?
Well, and that's my other, I asked the gentleman that's on our commission, he gives us a report on the EV charging station, and he said it's only used a couple times, it's used a couple times a week.
He has his own in his house. Yeah.
Do you say theirs is the one she?
It's one of the, yeah, the top use, of the group that Potomac Edison has installed as part of this program.
Yeah, that must.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
They use more than Hagerstown.
We have a responsibility to the citizens of the town to serve what benefits the most.
Majority.
Okay, not just majority, what does the most good is using the best practice. The reason I asked the question is, do we have a demand for, have we received any letters saying we need more EV parking or more EV charging stations? I know we received letters saying we need handicap parking, and God help us, we take away parking spots in the park. The citizens will speak. Now, if the citizens speak that we, mayor and council, do something, we need more EV parking places, then we have a responsibility to take action. This is Potomac Edison, and I know that it's the way of the future and everything, but if you're asking us to take away parking spaces now when there isn't a demand that I've heard other than Potomac Edison, then I don't think it's right for us to take away those lawful parking spaces that we have right now. That's my opinion. This is speaking completely utilitarian here. This is what the benefits to most people. I don't see anybody screaming at our door saying we need EV charging stations.
Plus you can, I'm reading it online, you can get single phase charging stations.
Yeah, but that takes all night. People can do that at your home.
That's it.
These are like for people traveling who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jump off the interstate and want to charge and have something to do
I
in
get
a
it.
couple hours while they're.
I don't know if you've been up to the outlets, but they have about 30 of them
Yeah,
up there.
yeah, oh, yeah.
And 1 or 2 are used.
Yeah, I mean, my kids in Baltimore have cars, they use the charging station, they come. They, you know what I mean?
Demand for EVs will grow.
Here in the council,
Yeah, I just kind of think we need to keep thinking of some thoughts.
it's probably over on the Boy Scout side.
Yeah, they were just up and run the street, Park Street, with electric.
That's how I play.
Two situation with all the, everything's going on in the park, we actually are going to keep those spaces. So if you lose 3, that would really.
But it takes about, it says here it takes about 6 hours to charge with the same, with 220.
He did say
Or it's 2
tonight,
hours for 480.
it depends on how low it is, the battery is. The first part of that charging, it goes fast. It's towards the end, he said that it takes a while for it to finish charging.
You get supercharging, which you could go to Walmart and do that. That's ready to damage your battery if you do it too long.
So, yeah.
And Walmart put theirs right in front of the store. I mean, and I don't know how many people are in there, but people really think you can't park there, it says EV. And I drive up there and I want to park there, but I don't have an EV, so I don't know, if really, there isn't any, this is a gray area we're right now. Can I park there? Even if I don't, what are they gonna do? They're gonna give me a ticket on my Chrysler 300 because I'm in the EV spot? Or, you know, is it forbidden now, or is that taking up a handicap spot? So I think that's there's a gray area now we're gonna have to grow into. But this is gonna happen, and it's gonna be part of the infrastructure. I just want to bring out, we think we parking spots, we're gonna hear about it immediately.
But it's not public, I was gonna say, with all the growth that's going on out at the old auction house place. I don't know if you would want it, but that's not,
When you get that, doesn't help.
not public. No, but it does help with town business that, you know, what I mean, that's not
Basically, he probably
goodwill,
will.
you know what I mean? The flea market.
So do I have a motion to approve down the Boy Scout parking lot?
Well, that's not even okay, but they really, they have to look in that way.
No, they
They're willing to do it, you said it was more money, they don't do it there.
They want- It seemed like they were still willing to do it, but it was, it was going to take more resources.
How far would they have to run it, Greg?
From the Park Street. Parallel, run down Big Park.
Okay. They kind of phrased it as far as which site was more feasible. Because that was-
That would be more feasible for them.
Then I would make a motion that we offer that area to Potomac Edison if they can make it work, it's up to them. We would authorize them to do it there, but not at the community center.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to authorize Tom Guessing for more Boy Scout. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. Abstaining, motion carries. By the way, I talked to Kenny Klein. He said he didn't care if they couldn't work.
Okay, great. Well, then
It's just so they you get two more down.
Yeah,
That was their concern, get two more down.
yeah, and as long as, I'd rather have one somewhere than nowhere.
It just seems like it's an ideal location. If we can't get the other ones, it seems like that's the better location for them.
Actually, that would be closer to downtown business.
Yeah, and
Right,
then walk
right
up to the
up to
ice
the
cream
alley.
shop.
You're right there. I mean,
Playing, you're right there, the square.
there's the old park, and then you're right there at the path, and the new trails.
And when people garden,
Yeah.
there you go.
That'd be closer to the-
Yeah, I didn't personally have a preference. We had started with the community center location because that was what was on the table a while ago when they were looking at locations for the first EV station. So that's why we started with that location. But yes, I definitely understand the need for the parking on the community center. So I appreciate everyone's consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So again,
Thanks, Cassandra.
thank you.
Next is an update on National Road Museum. Jared already gave that during his county manager's report. Washington County zoning ordinance, recreational vehicles.
So I called the county a couple of times when actually they provided me with album and states. And when I called the county and read the sentence, they said, well, the sentence worked a little strangely, but yes, we're not allowed to live in a county. Okay, so then I guess Kim found the county ordinance that she sent to all of us, which is much more clearly laid out. So I called the county again, and she just, the lady just basically said, yes, you're not allowed to live in an RV. So I said, okay, what do you all do about it? And then she did not ever mention the word grace period, but she said, we send them an official letter, give them 15 days to become compliant, and inform them if they're not compliant within 15 days, we may issue them a civil citation of up to $100 per day. So I think Anita's been here a lot, David's been here a lot. We know they can't be living in an RV. I think also a couple of us have walked up there and talked to them and keep getting different stories, although we've not heard from them. But I think it's time to have Jared issue them this letter and inform them they have 15 days. And then from there, I'm not sure what the enforcement process is or how that works. But that's how I feel about it.
I'll make that motion. I thought we were sending the letter after the last meeting. I thought the debate was just how long we had to comply.
I'll second your motion.
I think we need to give them official notification. And
How long?
I would say the 15 days, that's what the county does. They've got, 2 weeks.
And I mean, again,
They can come
it's not like
and
they just
explain
did
the
this
situation
last
if
week.
there's some
Yeah,
extraneous
Yeah,
circumstances.
It's not like they just did this last week.
Correct.
But during the days, it's been going on since last calendar.
Correct, and they've kind of been told they can't continue to do it, so it's time for like official.
Well, all the bull crap they're putting out too. They told you one thing, they told me one thing, and it's time.
Well, we have concerned neighbors, and it's against the, violation that we need to address.
We have put an EV parking spot.
Yeah, there we go, we put one right there.
Sorry, you're it. James Community Center. Council said wrong.
It's,
We have a motion and a second on the floor to send a letter of notification. They have 15 days. Any other
And I would
discussion?
include that, or they may be
Or
fined,
they may be
just like
fined.
the county.
Is it $100 a day?
That was
Up to
exactly, you may be fined up to $100.
for that. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. Same. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. BMUC as a member, they would like to recommend that be reappointed. I think it's a 4-year term. And that would be Dave Wade, so I would like to recommend to the council a reappointment of Dave Wade to the Utilities Commission for a 4-year term.
Do you need a motion?
I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carries. We have a donation request, 8th Annual South County Golf Tournament, benefiting Michael's Backpack. They want to know where we would be interested in sponsoring the hole. Last year, we gave them $100 for a hole sponsor. Unless somebody's interested, they're looking for golfers and teams, $90 per golfer. It's on Monday, September 25th at Black Rock. Registration 7:30, shotgun at 8:30. But would you all be willing to?
I'll make a motion to donate our $100 for a whole sponsorship.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any other discussion?
That's it. Cool lunch. Michael.
Yes.
What's the shotgun? Is that a golfing thing?
Yeah, what a shotgun is, a foursome goes to one hole, and everybody starts off from different holes. You know, everybody doesn't do off from hole one.
So that it keeps moving.
Good that it rotates, so.
Moves a lot faster. than that way.
Not everybody can be at the tree starting at the same time. Does that, that helps? Everybody can't be staging at the same time.
Hopefully, everybody gets done and completes it in 19 holes at the same time.
The 19th hole, I got that.
We have a motion and a second, $100 a whole sponsor. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carries. We also got a parade invitation from Vernon Brown for September 11th, which is on Monday, 6:30, day after Pittsburgh Days. Inviting us to participate in the parade. So, y'all want to get together sometime and discuss, and we'll put an entry in the parade again like we have.
Is that our council night meeting though?
Ooh, that would be the second. Would be the second, yeah, it would be the second Monday of the month. I guess we may have to do it
Rock in
to
parade
the
and
12th.
sharp left.
Can we take that big green Bronco out there?
Yeah, sure. That's yours? Oh, no, that's, hey, we'll put the top back on, pull it on.
Well, the first Monday is Labor Day, so we don't want to do it then.
We can do it.
No, we already have mayor and council meeting on the 18th.
Oh, we are.
Kim already did that, okay. I'll leave our calendar.
Yeah.
So we probably won't have a workshop then instead of.
Normally.
No, because it's an MML month. The first Monday is Labor Day. Second Monday is the parade. So that we did the third Monday as
Works for me.
Mark Killen.
mayor and council.
Be the third
Fixing it
month.
up right now. You-
Grade D,
Yeah.
the 18th. Normally they have, right, everybody participates in the parade, fire hall. That's all the new business I have. Anybody else have anything? If not, we'll go into conditions that could, you're okay with the chief. Already discussed that. But you're welcome to share it. You're welcome to.
Okay, well, public safety meeting, since you were there, can we jump? I missed the public safety meeting. I was on vacation.
What did
I was
public
gonna ask
safety
the
meeting?
chief if there was anything.
They talked about it, and that's when I got me.
Okay,
Mayor,
I didn't
Yes,
get
sir.
the minutes yet.
can we, have our department heads discuss, if they, don't have any other food business here?
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, you're almost finished.
Yeah, once we get done new business, you guys are welcome.
You're welcome.
Take care, guys.
Howard, did you want to say about the state aid, the police?
Oh, yeah, we got this is what we're gonna receive.
Yes.
Now, looks like we're gonna receive $50,192 from the fiscal year 2024 state police aid, police protection fund. So
Isn't that the thing I gotta sign, Kim?
I don't think you actually have to sign it. I think, Because- I'll let you know. But I don't think,
that's already been, yeah, I think you all are. I think
yeah, you
we
sign
already
everything
signed
when we submit
it.
it.
Send all that in, so this is what we're.
Is that more or less than what we budgeted?
I am not 100% sure what was actually budgeted.
I think it's.
Sure, it's-
That's what we've got in past years, isn't it?
Last year, they told us we were getting 35. We ended up with 55.
Yeah. So maybe this year we'll get more than 50. We're hoping. That's good news. Okay, Park Board.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, everyone. Meeting was called to order July 6th this month. We welcome Jared to the town. Let's see, we interviewed a person for the park board, and we have one more person to interview this month, and then we'll get that taken care of. Independence Day celebration went very well. The vendors were happy and the fireworks were spectacular.
Yes, it were.
Disc golf update, Greg and Laura met with, what's his name, Jackson Dolly, to look at the proposed course. Some of the concerns would interfere with the walking path and the pond. Those concerns were expressed to Mr. Dolly with the request to modify the course. And a new plan for the course was made. There's no further information at this time. The dog park update. It was brought to the attention of the park board that people with disabilities have a difficult time accessing the dog park. I talked to Greg Huntsberry, and he said it wouldn't be no problem putting a handicap parking space. Right there. So there you go, it's there. Congratulations. Park Path 4 update, currently waiting for permits from the county, and Jared took my thunder on the rest of the stuff. Jared. Movie update, July movie Tom and Jerry was canceled. That'll be tentatively be rescheduled for September 30th. Country Current was canceled on July 8th, and it's rescheduled for Wednesday, the 30th, August 30th at 7.
Oh.
It was decided to tree board update, it was decided to cancel the CBT project because time is running out, require more coordination than available with the town at this time. The downtown beautification project will be completed this fall. The tree inventory is still in the works, but it'll be a while before completion because GIS software needs to be purchased. And Jared requested from the community park, from the park board, ideas for community parks and playground grants. We get to have him, to give it to him August 10th. I don't know if they did it or not.
And that's why we decided on this.
Okay, and there you go. That's it. And the next meeting is August 23rd here, 7 o'clock.
Sure. Anybody have any questions for Rick? Hearing none, who's doing the utilities commission?
No, we didn't think about that.
Colin, you want to fill us in on?
Sure. So we met July 27th. We met a little earlier than normal. We had Andy from WRA come in, gave us the 60% presentation for the reservoir. Took a long time to get that, but they're getting moving. He assured us that that's the bulk of it. It's just fine tuning it now. Getting it to 90 is going to be a lot quicker process. What's nice about it is there's going to be redundancy in the system. Currently, we have that 1.2 million gallon reservoir. Something happens to it, we have no redundancy. This is going to be a pill shape, essentially, elliptical, they call it, and it'll be two 500,000 gallons. So if one side goes down for maintenance, we still have some capacity. They're thinking of the future in case we have to add chlorine injection up there. So they're thinking ahead instead of just in the moment. So that was nice seeing that. We noticed David Wade's term had ended in June. That was kind of a lapse, so that's why that came up. Greg had a batch of meters that went bad. He had enough in inventory to replenish them, but he needed to buy some more. Their prices went up significantly. I think they're like $350 a meter, but we're pigeonholed to using that because of our technology. They do have a nice meter, and eventually we want to get to the point where we're actually utilizing all of the features of the meter. So essentially, we're buying the top of the line Cadillac meter, but we just don't know how to use the Bluetooth and the heated seats and all that stuff. We're paying for it, we're just not using it. So it's, I mean, you heard Pete's update on the well. A lot of our projects are just kind of in the chamber waiting for something to happen. The bypass for the pressure for Crestview, we kind of gave WRA to go ahead to start getting a little more process on that, because that's going to need to be done in tandem because we're actually raising the elevation a little bit. So we're probably going to add about 8 or 9 PSI more out to that region, which is already a problem. So, and the funding, that was the big one. Yeah, I mean, if you all are aware that the funding has kind of poof. So, Jared, you got any updates on the funding?
Not really, it's what I told you guys. I mean, we're one of the reasons we're doing MAPO is to try to find some funding. We've reached out to, and did get a hold of the Army Corps of Engineers to see if they could use any of their funding to help us out. We did get back from them, not with an answer, but with basically saying, hey, I got your request. We're talking about it internally. We spoke with Senator Quarterman about our issues. Reached out to the governor directly about our issues. And I also met, actually set up a meeting with USDA and NDE at the same time. Don't we do that next month to see what potential funding we could get from them as well. They're not going to really be giving us millions of dollars in some of these places, but almost this month as well. But still, I think they can give us something. So I'm reaching out to everybody I can, so we'll see.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
I have any questions? Yeah, I do. I got hit with a question from a citizen in council. They don't really know how to answer it, but fluoride. That we don't fluoride water anymore. I didn't have a good answer as to whether or not it's, you know, is it not recommended anymore? Just for the future, you ask the question again. The ADA is no longer recommends it, or it's no longer required.
No longer required.
No longer required. They're essentially, they're finding out that too much fluoride can cause a complete opposite of what they were anticipating. And it's like fluoridosis or something that it can actually weaken bones. So, and when you think about putting fluoride in the water system, a 5-year-old would be getting the same amount as a 65-year-old. There's no controlling of the dosage. So, no, it's not a requirement anymore. So they just
Go to your dentist. Anybody else ever gonna ask a question? I became out of the blue. I was like,
well, it's encouraging that a citizen actually read the water report. That's how they found it.
Because it's just out of here, there's stuff in there for people to.
you know, I really don't know why. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll find out. That's good information.
I should have nudged him. He did still.
Thank you.
So, Colin, I was sitting here thinking about the mayor, myself, and you were also at the Greensburg Keysville Water Board. And I'm trying to think, was there anything really relevant in there? And that was just sort of continuing to talk about the agreement between the towns and that sort of thing. There really wasn't anything that sticks out to me.
And we're already discussed. Thank you, sir. Moving on, planning.
Yes, what the heck do I want to say about that? I want to thank Jared for coming to the meeting because he's not required to, but he did. So between he, Kim, and myself, we just kind of been winging it as we go. So for the last meeting that we had, now on the 25th, I did the agenda and I took the minutes, which I'll go over a little bit, and then I was going to get with Jared tomorrow to work on the agenda for next week, but if you're not going to be here, maybe I can catch you for 5 minutes after this meeting. I mean, I kind of have something together. So with that in mind, then I'll take minutes again. So the minutes from the 25th, and we are going to meet next Tuesday. The minutes from the 25th, if I can read my own minutes here. The new business, one of the items was the comprehensive plan. Jared's kind of taken the lead on investigating that. Our plan was last updated in 2009. It's required to be updated every 10 years. Well, we're late. So he gave the commission basically an assignment to go back and read our current plan, mark it up, and come back to the meeting next week with comments. So David Farley has been, the chair of the commission, has been collecting those comments and such. We do have $60,000 for this in our current year budget. So that's kind of it with the comp plan. We're thanks to Jared for trying to march along with it. He already talked about hiring a planner and interviews of candidates. I already talked about the Mount Nebo Church subdivision. I brought up this topic of the Greensburg Keysville Water Board water tap availability. There's a chart, if you will, about how many taps are available. And we have some reserved. Keysville has 60 reserved, for example. And Kimberly Associates is probably the big player in the room. We just don't know what they're going to do with what they have already been promised. So Tony's been trying to meet with the developer, and I've been trying to get the two commissions together, water board and the planning commission, to have a joint meeting. Because, for example, the planning commission just approved a 5-block subdivision, which kind of would think, well, they need 5 taps. Well, we sort of have to watch that. We just can't be approving something. That sort of thing. Speaking of the subdivision, I reminded everyone, it's been very, very disappointing to the neighbors, I should say, that subdivision was approved, but I reminded them, the only thing that's been approved is dividing up the ground. No site plan has been approved, nothing's happened there yet. And David Bell, they commented about 50 St. Paul Street, him and Anita are brother and sister, kids y'all didn't know. And David had talked about that they pulled some concrete out back there, and the county inspector told them it was not up to code and had to redo it. So I don't know if they did it, they broke it up to work. But this is where what David was saying. I already talked about Rico stepping down. And that is basically all I had on the minutes, and I should say these are draft minutes. We're gonna sit down and approve them. Did I miss anything?
No, just accept the kind of the combined meeting between the planning and the utilities commission will still be happening. But we put a pause on it right now to wait until we get a planner on, as well as just a few other things. And then we will end up doing. So we just put a pause on. We didn't cancel it.
So anybody have any questions today? Thank you, sir. Mary Lee, I know you said you were at.
I wasn't at the meeting, but we did have a wonderful national night out.
Yes,
Thank everybody
sir.
for helping, thank Christy for all of our work, Kim for our work. We did a lot
of
very good turnout.
Very nice.
And,
That's the first time I ever saw them wrapped around back
Yeah, it
behind
was
the
really
backstop.
Yeah, I think it was a carnival line.
And he stayed there.
Yeah.
We talked to the guy that brought that safety truck.
Yes.
The new, he said that the reason why there were so many people there is because it was announced on the radio.
Frederick.
And that we were that we have Old Park and all that stuff, free food stuff. So Smithsburg, Williamsport, Middletown, and Shepherdstown was here.
Yeah, I know.
There was over.
There was a lot of cars from West Virginia parking.
Yeah.
So how did the radio find out?
Yeah.
Because somebody must have said
And
something.
I asked them as well, Kevin and Chrissy, they don't.
The only one that should have known about it, had it, was Fred, was announced for all the municipalities in Washington County, WJJ, Hagerstown. They announced every town.
But the kids, the research could really just kind of, oh, yeah, say, hey, you know what's happening in Boonesboro? Oh, thanks, hey,
No, now they know.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Next year, we just have one of
The whole work can be was donated, so it doesn't cost the town, just a long line and a lot of.
And as we know, when we're out of food, Chrissy will let them know we're out of food.
So it's, donated by the.
That explains the crowd. That explains why I went to get the fire hall parking lot. Girls said, I can't believe all this.
Well, if we're gonna do that, if they're all gonna come to our event, maybe we should get a hold of the municipalities around here and say, hey, let's just do one big one and do it right here.
Now, Jeff Klein was here.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah.
And so maybe the county might, since we got a multi-jurisdictional thing.
Jeff stayed for a long time.
Jeff came through the line, actually. Line saw the line.
I was gonna say, he didn't go too long.
He was here for a short period of time and took off to one of the other ones. He probably tried to get to a couple of them.
It's because he wanted Happy Meal, that's when we couldn't have it. It's too old, so he left.
Anyhow, and just an FYI, I apologize, but I will miss meeting again this week for public safety because I can work and next September I have to work. And then the police grant, we put in the budget 45, so if I forget.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
I was looking because I remember the question. So it's not the numbers.
That's great. Thank you. EDC, right?
There wasn't a formal meeting since our last meeting, however, we're all in for the food truck festival, which is the third. We're now up to 24 food trucks. So that's what we're asking the caution tape for, so we're figuring out parking and such. A little distressing, this new incident may occur in the town during the same weekend, and maybe if we'll just deal with that as best we can. The next meeting, we're gonna have a networking breakfast hosted by the Rural Heritage Museum down on Fairgrounds. Neat museum if you've never been, fascinating museum for transportation and rural heritage and all that. So they're gonna be hosting a breakfast in the 21st.
September. Great to get off.
And since we're having that food truck thing going on that day, I think we should close the dog park down.
I think we decided to do that already, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's already.
In fact,
Is anybody using the dog park?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, there was one lady that got a hold of me, was talking about the handicap. She had a broken foot, she couldn't get down to it.
And it's not the cattle, it's gravel.
Well, I told her that
Park
it's something that they can get close to.
Pretty sorry to put that in.
I thank Greg, I thank Jared for that. That's job well done.
And it's going very good. Well, need for the setup, so people at a picnic table or a bench and all that, that you can sit there in the shade while your dog's out there running around.
Didn't he put a fire plug in there too?
Yes.
Yes.
they, fire hydrant.
It was an old broken one.
Careful walking another broken one. Yeah.
Middletown has a bigger park, but they don't have a fire.
There we go. I don't think they have a plug, do they? Or
No.
in the shade? Okay. Thank you, sir. Environmental Commission, Eric?
We talked a lot about that charging station and Solid Waste Reduction Committee, they want to put out some flyers in the water bill, I believe, or put on cards so that people know about that composting bin down in the park. I used it the other day. They suggested maybe keeping your foods and scraps in a container with a lid, like in your refrigerator, or even in top of your freezer if you have room, and then take those scraps and all down in that one container at the park for composting. The beautification committee said they are not planting street trees, maybe at a later date, and right now there is no fall tree giveaway this year.
Do you mind if I jump in?
Sure.
So, this been talked about twice now with the tree issue. So, basically, we met with, so there are 3 different tree companies, possibilities going on from different angles. I met with both sides, from the beautification side of things, as well as just the Main Street trees that are trying to be planted. There's so much confusion, even amongst the 2 groups, that basically what I told them was, there's really no time to plant this year, which is why. So it's not that we're not gonna be doing this. It's just, we don't have the time this year. So I said, we need to get our ducks in a row first to figure out actually, so we're not trying to double plant these trees, because they didn't know what was in the beautification plan. The beautification plan didn't really say which side of the trees were coming to plant these, because 2 different plots of trees we had chosen from. So anyway, so we're working that out first. Basically, the steps are gonna be getting the beautification plan completed first, getting us a final draft, which I will bring to the council to look at. Whatever trees happen to be in there, I keep hearing back and forth whether they're going to, Main Street trees are all going to be in the beautification plan or not. I don't know if the final draft will happen. But either way, if they do, then we can come back and figure out the other set of trees, where they were going to go along Main Street, to make sure they're not overlapping each other. And then we can approve or disapprove all that. So we know exactly where the trees are going, decide if you want that or not. And then we can, if you don't, there's other places.
Right.
So that's kind of what happened while we go.
Okay. fees.
That 2+ residents have to be talked.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right, to make sure the residents back can get notified.
We have a letter that we're gonna send out when we're ready.
Because if they, those routes bust up their sidewalks.
And they gotta clean up and do that.
But I just didn't know who to notify. So
Yes,
that's why.
exactly, you gotta know where they're gonna be.
The community garden, they're working on rules and bylaws. They're looking at Hagerstown's right now for a model, as a model for their bylaw. And, oh, they wanted me to ask you all to maybe send King Road and Associates a letter about that cute little house, but it's been, somebody took over, I see, and took all the weeds and stuff away from it.
Yeah,
That's a cute little thing.
Yeah,
They
but
were
I
doing
didn't see it
similar
run
thing.
wrong.
Yeah,
The weeds and the grass.
yeah, but it looks nice now, so. I'm not even gonna get into it. That's it.
Anybody have any questions?
On that note, Kevin just texted me, apparently,
Yeah.
about that, okay.
Picture of the
Yeah,
EV
you can't,
station.
you can't put the EV parking spots, if you don't have an EV, it's a no parking.
Right, there is a sign back here, apparently.
Yeah.
I know that became, I know it got brought up and asked, if somebody's parking there and wasn't charging, or, you know what I mean?
Well, there you go, because one day, the whole damn parking lot was full of charging stations.
No cars.
Your race car will have to go from.
Honestly, say no.
Anybody, anything else come before the council?
One thing that I brought up, I looked out from one of our neighbors, 50 St. Paul Street, the subdivision. The developer said here months ago, and promised us that we finished and be on the market this spring, meaning this spring passed. Obviously, it didn't happen, they're not even close. Frankly, they'll be lucky if they make it the next spring, because I'll have to check it out every day. So I asked the planning commission in the future, could we attach some terms and conditions to these types of subdivisions and things before they're approved and such, not knowing anything about that stuff, honestly. And I was told, well, that's not allowed. We can't do that. So I just thought it made common sense to do that, but sounds like you can't do that. So anyway.
Well, I think there's a time limit on the permit, you can ask for an extension.
Yeah.
To me, it's the same thing as Easter Day problem, lingering on.
But in all fairness, like if you're starting something and then COVID happens, and, it's like the reservoir project, look at the hurdles we encountered, so,
No, that's all true.
like, I know, I don't know what the hurdles are, but, people do.
Same. I just-
But that keeps me covered.
Yes. Thank you. If there's anything else, I need a motion to go to executive session as provided under general provisions article 3-305B1 subsection I to discuss the appointment, employment assessments, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, the resignation of our performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials under whom it has jurisdiction.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same, motion carries. We will now go into executive session. Thank you all.